have been long awaiting this video, but I'm gonna tell you how it really went. Let's get into it. I'm in Vegas. I'm eating my meal prep in the car. It's just potatoes and chicken breast. I rented a car just for 24 hours because my sister doesn't get here until tomorrow evening. These are the nails. I love the claw. It's really nice out, and there's a pool at my Airbnb. So I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna check in. I'm gonna smoke a doob, an indica, and get in the pool and just relax. More on my mindset coming soon, as in whenever I get to the Airbnb. Okay, so it's show day. I already ate 2 small meals. They were both just cream of rice, about 35 grams, with 15 grams of whey powder, a tiny bit of almond butter just to tide me over, but not a whole lot. My tan is on. I'm extremely dark. My face is really white, and so I just have to do my hair and makeup, and then we'll be heading to the venue.
I'm a sweet temptation. Don't you keep me waiting, cause I'm losing patience. I'm a sweet temptation. Don't you keep me waiting, cause I'm losing patience.
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Alright, I'm gonna show you around a little bit. Quarter turn to the right.
So today's video is a recap of my show day. I wanted to get some more film, but one, my sister is god awful at taking videos. That's why my stage videos look the way that they look. I'm very grateful that she was there, but she's not good at that. I tried to tell her to bring the tripod so that it would be more stable, but she don't listen to me, and she's a lawyer. I'm not gonna argue. But I really wanted to be transparent about how this show went, because honestly, it went how I expected, but in the end, I didn't show up the way that I hoped I would have showed up. But that's a part of the sport, and I have sat with it, and I don't feel bad. I still got a medal for here in the middle, and I got 5th, which I'm grateful to have been able to step on stage, and I do feel like the people who were placed above me deserve to be where they were at. So going into this show, I already knew that I wasn't lean enough. I could see it, I could feel it, and I was realistic with where I was at. That's why my one day out video had the tone that I had. But instead of spiraling about it, I decided to focus on having fun, being helpful backstage, and soaking up the experience. I just wanted to give everyone else a positive experience as well, and just really use it to observe myself and learn, watch my stage footage back, see what I could have improved with posing. And I also knew that I had another show coming up in 3 weeks from now, so I'm 3 weeks out. So this was almost like a trial run, and I think my mindset, knowing that I was doing the second show, I shot myself in the foot. I think I was a little too lax, and I just used it as a way to learn, practice, and improve before I tighten things up. And I got to see myself on stage with what my body would default to with posing, and working really hard at fixing those things before this second show. I had really poor core and breathing control, which really blew out my waistline, which wasn't helpful when I wasn't lean enough, and I was definitely holding on to some water, and I'll get to that in a second. And backstage though, honestly, the girls backstage made the day so much brighter. I got to meet someone that I connected with through social media. We had never met before. Her name's Ruby. She was really amazing, and everyone was super fun, kind, and supportive. And it was really special to come together with people who were competing and working towards a similar objective as myself. And really everybody hyped each other up and were super supportive as far as complimentary, and we shared pump up bands, we shared snacks, we shared water. It was really fun, and I was genuinely proud and happy for the girls who placed higher than me. They were all so sweet and they earned it, and they brought incredible physiques. So I am very happy for them. And so now reflecting after, I wanted a few days to pass before I posted this because I have just seen, I didn't feel upset at my placing or how the show turned out. I think, and I'll get to that in a second, but I wanted a few days to pass just so I could really sit with my thoughts and make sure that I wasn't just pretending not to feel bad. And I definitely don't feel bad. I can see that I didn't load enough carbs before show day, or maybe I loaded too early because I looked better after the show by Tuesday, which is today's Tuesday. Yesterday, I looked much better, and I had, you saw in the video, this really bland meal, half a rotisserie chicken, a roll, some potatoes, and some corn at the Tournament of Kings. It was really fun. But I also had a cinnamon roll that night, and then I didn't go hard or anything. And then the next day, Sunday, was more where I had my fun food, and I had a double XL barbecue beef brisket from Buc-ee's, which is the weirdest thing, and tater tots. And then my body filled out. I didn't feel super bloated. I actually felt like incredibly hungry once I got back to plan yesterday, Monday. And things just kind of clicked, and that's a huge note for me going into this next show, that I need a better carb strategy for my body, period. I was an athlete my whole life, and my body has always done really well with refeeds, and I've just been nervous because I think I just get in my head too much. And then one thing that I learned about my body is that it really struggles with water retention. One, when psychological stress is high, and especially during that 10 to 7 day window before my period. And this prep hit both of those targets. And even today, I'm noticing my water retention is going. And I also had to travel by plane, and the airport psychologically also stresses me out. It's an extremely stressful process for me with my OCD. Just it's really hard for me. And I was extremely stressed coming into the show, and I've honestly been struggling a lot mentally. There's a lot going on in my personal life. I've felt really lost and emotional and disconnected from myself and from the world at large. I think it has a lot to do with the things that are going on in the world. I try to give people a lot of grace, but it's really frustrating sometimes to see how people treat each other in the world at large. And it's hard to describe it. I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world, and I don't even know where I'm headed. I don't know what I want from life in the next year, let alone the next 5 or 10 years. And so when I say my physique wasn't at its best, it wasn't just physical, it was definitely emotional, mental, and hormonal as well. I don't want to make excuses for myself because I also don't feel like I gave 100% in my prep, just because I let these things that were going on in my life steer me off the path here and there. And I think that I just let that happen more often than I realize potentially. I track everything, and I've been honest with my data, but I don't think I've been honest with myself as far as the stress that I've been feeling. I also got a promotion and have been figuring out just a new position at work and new stresses at work. So with all those things going on, although I can understand and look at it in hindsight and understand why my body looked the way it did and why my prep went the way it did, I'll be real, I was still embarrassed on how I looked on show day. At my core, I'm really working on my humility. And so it was hard for me to not be competitive. Obviously, I got 5th, but I feel like I just didn't present the way that I wanted to. So I was feeling a little embarrassed about even showing up. And I feel like I came in worse than I looked the week before. I felt really confident about how I felt 2 weeks out, and then I don't know what happened. But I think embarrassment is also an extremely underexplored experience in the human experience. And honestly, I think it's worth sitting with instead of avoiding, because I don't want to hide from it. I want to learn from it. And the only way is up from here, which is really exciting. And for once, I feel like that embarrassment is driving me forward rather than making me want to hide. I think my default is to avoid and hide. And I feel like it would be really easy to be like, well, I got fifth and I'm done now. But I really want to hit this next show and then decide what I want to do next. So since the show, I've made a few adjustments to my food to keep my deficit steady and to refine things for the next few weeks, which was my plan anyways. And my goal is to come in noticeably tighter and leaner for the next show, almost leaner than I think I need to be, just because I'm not satisfied with my last performance, but I'm also not done yet. And I think if I come in leaner than I expect, then if I do have some psychological stress, then hopefully the water retention won't make me look even fluffier than I was. Not to say that the water retention was the whole issue. Again, I definitely wasn't just lean enough in general. But I think that is the purpose of bodybuilding. It's a sport that tests you on every level, physically, mentally, emotionally. Can you withstand it? Can you keep moving forward? Can you keep improving? Or will you be one of the ones who give up after a couple shows because they didn't go how you expected because you thought it was going to be easier? I didn't necessarily think it was going to be easier. I think that it's just when you're not good at things, it's easier to give up than it is to keep trying. And I'm not happy with how it went, but I'm hopeful. But I am very excited and proud of the girls who did place higher than me. And that's enough to keep me moving forward for now. But currently I'm 3 weeks out, which is really exciting. And I'm feeling really positive about the next show. It is a pro qualifier. And this one was too, but I didn't know that coming into it, which I think kind of also threw me off a little bit. I didn't expect it to be as big as it was. And this next show is even bigger. So I honestly think it was a blessing in disguise so that I could fix anything that I noticed still being an issue. Core control, breathing control. I've been doing some deep core, rib flare type activation exercises every day, as well as diaphragmatic breathing, so that I can understand what it feels like to have a deep connection and engagement with my core while I'm in those harder positions, and doing more focused drilling with my posing. And so if you're watching this and maybe feeling like you're dealing with your own setbacks, remember that it's okay to feel disappointed. And what matters most is that you reflect, adjust, and keep going, just like you would in anything else. And all in all, besides just being a mess in general, I feel pretty good. And I feel pretty hopeful. And like I said, the community is extremely supportive in the OCB, so I feel like I have plenty of opportunity and time to take my time to grow if I need to. I don't think growth is my issue. I think figuring out what my strategy needs to be and how to work with my body on a timeline, considering the things that I've learned during this prep. But so here's your recap, and my next video is going to be another 2-week out video, which should be coming at the end of this week. And then hopefully repeating the cycle with whatever adjustments I feel. And I might make a video about just the protocols that I've changed in detail, but I'll give a little bit of a recap. So on my rest days, Mondays and Fridays, I dropped my carbs significantly lower to 75 grams. So basically a minimal, very low carb day, keeping my proteins and my fats consistent. And I dropped my protein a little bit because I dropped weight since I had first set my protein goal. So more like 165 rather than 175, 45 fat, never go below 45 fat for myself, just for hormone regulation and health. And then on those 2 days, carbs are 100. On my heavier lift days, so my leg days, which are 3 days a week, my carbs are higher and they're at 120, 125. I think it's 120. And then on my medium days, they are 100. So significant drop in calories, but mostly because I knew I could push that, and keeping steps the same, about 13,000 a day. Cardio, the same. Right now, 45 minutes across the board. Even on that cardio day, I also turned Monday from just cardio into cardio and core and intensive posing. So a longer posing session. Right now I do 10 to 15 minutes a day of posing I was just going through my flow. As you guys have seen in some of my older videos, I would just go through my flow. Sometimes I would work on certain holds, but now I'm doing more structured holds, especially my front pose and my side poses, just to make sure that I can keep that core control and that breathing. And I'll do a 15-second hold, 5-second rest for 4 rounds on each pose, and then go through the flow and hold each pose for about 10 seconds. And I'll go through the flow 2 to 3 times after I did the drills. And then that usually takes about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm good. And anything else that I feel like I might need there. But it's kind of just up from here. I just feel really tired this week, but I'm also 5 days away from my period, which is the worst time for me, honestly. And I don't know if this has to do with my OCD or if there's something else going on, but for some reason, PMS for me is extremely intense. And I get really deep depressive episodes, really high emotions and large emotional fluctuations. So I'll be ovulating on my next show, which I hope will just give me mental peace of mind, if anything, and continuing to let myself be tested. Other than that, workouts are the same as they were. Only thing is that I'm going to experiment with adding stairs back in a little bit, and I'll know pretty quickly if it's too much because my legs will feel really inflamed, but think that it'll be okay even if I just do half and half and then taper if I need to. But I honestly also like the stairs a little bit more than incline walking, so experimenting. Maybe I shouldn't be experimenting, but I don't really care. So my prep, not yours. So that's it. And then I'll tune in later this week.